What if Luffy died in place of Ace at Marineford? Simple. Shanks becomes Pirate King. But anyways, on a serious note now, in Marineford, Ace would face similar kinds of shock as to Luffy. He'd be completely out of it. His brothers just died. Jinbei, being his friend and whatnot, would save him, obviously drag him out of there, help him. Akainu would be chasing him since the war was because of Ace, and eventually they would get out, but it would be kind of difficult because there'd be no help from Boa Hancock. She'd be too mad. She'd just go straight in, fight Akainu, get killed. And I don't think Law would help Ace. I'm not too sure, but just for the sake of continuity, let's just say Law helps him, he gets out of there, all is good. The story from here, yeah, basically the Straw Hats, they all don't know about Luffy's death. Obviously Ace would send a secret little message. They'd probably see on the news actually Luffy's dead. They wouldn't know how to react. At first they'd probably all be shocked as well, all probably just stop training, stop trying to do anything, probably give up at first. But eventually Ace would send them a message, meet me on Sabo in 2 years. They would feel so much revenge, anger, that they would train so much harder in those 2 years.
Now, I do think Kuma still protects Sunny, even though Luffy's dead now, because it still belongs to the Straw Hats at the end of the day, and Ace will carry on his legacy. After the 2 years have passed, Ace meets up with the crew and becomes their captain in place of Luffy, which they all agree to since that's his brother. Now, heading into Fishman Island, the whole crew are slightly stronger. Ace has all 3 kinds of advanced haki, slightly above Luffy in story at this point. And Usopp is more of a brave warrior after losing his friend Luffy, which is great for his character development. Heading into the fight against Hody, they bump into Jinbei a lot sooner because Ace is a lot less clumsy than Luffy and he's able to control the crew a lot better, in my opinion. And yeah, they take care of Hody a lot sooner rather than dealing with other things. With the 100,000 fishmen, I feel like Ace would knock out 75,000 with his Conqueror's haki, just to show off a little bit like Luffy did. When Ace meets Sabo, their interaction will be a lot different from what Luffy and Sabo's was, because Luffy saw Sabo as an older brother, whereas Sabo and Ace saw each other as basically the same person in a different body. So they would be a lot closer, I feel like, with a lot more tears involved, much sadder scene than Luffy, because it was always Sabo and Ace, and Luffy was like the third in that little group they had. Now, Sabo not being in Marineford or knowing about Luffy and Ace was kind of lazy writing from Oda, but anyways, in Dressrosa, obviously Sabo will not have Ace's devil fruit because Ace is still alive, but just for the sake of the story, let's just say Luffy's devil fruit was there to be won at the Colosseum and Sabo won it. It'd be an interesting aspect to see Sabo with Luffy's devil fruit all stretchy, and I feel like it'd be quite funny as well. Sabo would head on back to the Revolutionary Army after Ace deals with Doflamingo much easier than Luffy did in the story. Heading into Whole Cake Island, I feel like Ace, alongside a majority of the crew, would deal with Whole Cake Island a lot differently from how Luffy dealt with it, because Luffy tried to speak to Sanji to try and get him back to his crew, but obviously Ace not having that same connection as Luffy does with Sanji, he would try to go straight to the source and confront Big Mom. although this is a terrible idea, because Ace would be the pirate captain now, I feel like he'll get the luck he deserves this time around and survive his encounter with Big Mom and get out of there. Alongside Capone Beige, the wedding infiltration should be a lot easier than it was in the main story. Upon his arrival at Wano, Ace remembers a time when he already visited the island under the Whitebeard pirates and the few friends he made there, and immediately after he arrives he bumps into Otama and she helps him reunite with the rest of the Straw Hats immediately, and this leads to the preparations for the battle beginning much sooner. Now, I do think Marco being at Wano at the time is kind of convenient for Ace, because he'll immediately want to team up with him, and Yamato will get news of Ace being on the island and break free from Kaido, because she'll want to set out to sea and she'll join the Straw Hats immediately. But where the story takes a twist is the fact that Kid is already at Wano and is willing to fight against Kaido and Big Mom, but Law had no reason to be allies with Ace since he defeated Doflamingo on his own much easier without the help of Law, and they both went their separate ways back in Dressrosa. Now, this does mean that Sanji and Zoro win their fights against King and Queen, but unfortunately Big Mom defeats Kid, and Ace clearly isn't enough to defeat Kaido, and I feel like this is where their journey ends. Thank you very much for enjoying the video, guys. That's been What If Luffy Died Instead of Ace and Ace Became the Captain of the Straw Hats.